All right, guys, so we are officially a week out from Selection Sunday. As of this recording, it is Sunday night at 11:15. So these are the bracket at the moment. All right, so I've got all the bubble teams listed. I've got everybody ordered from number 1 to number 68. Let's go ahead and get into it. So these are in order. 1 seeds at the moment. We have Purdue at 28-3, Houston at 28-3, Uconn at 28-3, North Carolina at 25-6. All right, so those first 3 are locked in. No doubt. All right. So Purdue, Houston, Uconn are going to be the first number 1 seeds. Now, they could move up or down, depending on who's the number 1 overall seed, depending on what goes down over the next week, but it really doesn't matter in the long run. But that 4 seed, as far as who's in play at the moment, still Tennessee and Arizona could jump up to that final number 4 seed in the West. But at the moment, North Carolina's got it. All right. Then the 2 seeds, we've got Tennessee at 24-7, Arizona at 24-7. Then a pair of Big East teams, both sitting at 23-8, Marquette and Creighton. Marquette and Creighton probably can't jump up to that number 1 seed line. Probably stuck at 2. They could move down to 3, though, depending on what goes down over the next week as well. All right, so moving right along here to the 3 seeds. Next up, we have Kansas sitting at 22-9, Illinois 22-8, Iowa State 24-7, and Duke 24-7. Every one of these teams could move up or down depending on what they do as well over the next week. In particular, Iowa State, they were closer to the 2 seed line, but they just dropped the game to Kansas State recently, so that kind of dropped them down a little bit. All right, and then the 4 seeds, you can see those down there. Baylor, 22-9. Kentucky, 23-8. Kentucky really trending up as of late. Auburn at 24-7. So Kentucky and Auburn here in particular, if one of them wins the SEC, they would probably jump to the 3 seed. And then rounding out the 4s, we've got BYU at 22-9. All right, so moving right along to the 5 seeds, we have South Carolina sitting at 25-6. Alabama 21-10, Texas Tech 22-9, Northwestern 21-10. So a big drop here from 4 seed to 5 seed. I don't really know if any of these teams could jump up really unless they just win their conference tournament. You know what I mean? All right, moving to the 6 seed line, we have Florida at 21-10, Nevada 26-6, Utah State 26-5. So a pair of Mountain West teams there, and then Washington State at 23-8. Move it up for you. All right, 7 seeds. We have Clemson at 21-10, San Diego State 22-9, FAU moving up really big here, Boise State 22-9. Now the team to focus on here is FAU 24-7. So I currently have 6 bubble spots open as far as non-locks in the tournament. Now let's say FAU wins the American Athletic Conference tournament. Right now I don't have them winning that tournament. If they win that tournament, that would create another bubble spot. So there'd be 7 bubble spots open instead of 6. But right now, I've got another team winning the American. We'll get to them later. So basically, FAU's in that large here. And if they were to win, like I said, that would open up another bubble spot. All right, so the 8 seed line, we've got some really good teams here I wouldn't want to see in the second round. Gonzaga, 24-6. Now, Gonzaga, Denver St. Mary's is probably going to move up if both of them, well, let's say both of them win tomorrow night, and then one of them wins in the championship. Then one of them is probably going to jump up to the 7 seed line, but we'll see. Nebraska, 22-9, and then Colorado State, 22-9. All right, moving to the 9 seeds. These would set up some really good matchups here. All right, first off, Dayton, 24-6, similar to FAU. All right, Dayton, right now I don't have winning the A-10, but let's say they did win the A-10, that would create another bubble spot. So let's say them and FAU win. Now we're up to 8 bubble spots with bubble teams fighting for those positions. As of right now, there's only 6, though. But Dayton, I don't have winning the A-10 at the moment because as of right now, Loyola Chicago and Richmond are tied for first in that conference. All right, then we have a trio of Big 12 teams here to round out the 9 seeds. Texas at 20-11, Oklahoma at 20-11, and TCU at 20-11. Texas really trending up as of late, though. Beat Oklahoma pretty easily the other day. All right, then to the 10 seeds, we have Drake sitting at 28-6. All right, really big win today to clinch their ticket, punch their ticket. All right, Mississippi State 19-12, Wisconsin 19-12. As of right now, I have those 2 in, Mississippi State and Wisconsin. They're not exactly locks just yet because, one of the bubble teams could go on a run to the championship and then lose, and that could really change things. But as of right now, Mississippi State and Wisconsin are a clear tier above these bubble teams for me. And then to round out the 10s, if you see an asterisk on any of these teams like you see on Grand Canyon, that means they have not won their conference officially yet. Their tournaments are still ongoing. So this is the assumed winner. This is the highest rated team basically still left in their conference tournament. But Grand Canyon, 27-4, actually have a pretty impressive resume with some impressive wins along the way. So I think Grand Canyon's a team I would not want to play. All right, so getting to the 11s here. If you see them italicized, all right, so like these four right here, 43 through 46, those are the play-in games basically. All right, so if you see them italicized again, those are play-in teams. So at the moment on the 11 seed line, these are where the bubble teams come into play. All right, so these are all the bubble teams for me at the moment. Michigan State, out of all these, I think is the closest to a lock. I know they lost today, really bad loss, really bad timing, but I think they're in right now. So Virginia, 22-9 is the next team. All right, and then my last four in right now are Kansas State sitting at 18-13, New Mexico, 22-9. I don't know how the committee feels on Mountain West. That's going to really what's going to come into play here for New Mexico. How does the committee feel about the Mountain West? So they feel strongly about the Mountain West, that New Mexico's losses look better and their wins look better, so they could move up to, last four buys even. But as of right now, I've got them at the last four in. Appalachian State, 27-5. They lost today in the semifinals. I know a lot of people are going to have Appalachian State nowhere close to the field. I think they're in. They actually have a pretty strong resume. All right, they've got 2 wins over James Madison. They got to hope James Madison wins their conference. And then also they have a win over Auburn. So let's say Auburn goes on a run in the SEC tournament. Appalachian State has to be pulling for Auburn to win the SEC tournament, which would make their wins look even better. Then Appalachian State would have 3 wins over tournament teams if that was to happen, because they beat James Madison twice. All right, then last but not least here, last team in, Indiana State at 28-6. Lost today to Drake, really close game, really trimmed it down, came back at the end. Resume is not the prettiest, but they haven't really lost to many bad teams. I think they're in because I tried to find a reason to put them out when I was going through all these bubble teams. So, for example, we're looking at, Colorado, Texas A&M, Ohio State. I tried to find a reason to put Indiana State out, but all the other teams got the crap beat out of them by some pretty good teams. And I think Indiana State is going to benefit from those good losses in the non-con. They lost to Alabama. They lost to Michigan State, but they played with Alabama closer than a lot of those other teams that I'm talking about. Like Colorado got destroyed by Arizona. A&M's gotten destroyed by a couple other teams and so on. So I think Indiana State's going to be in. It's going to be tough, though. They're going to be sweating this next week. They're going to have to hope all these other bubble teams fall. And they're going to have to hope, like I said, FAU and Richmond. If both of them win their conferences, that should pretty much put in Indiana State, no doubt, I think. And then we'll talk about the rest of the bubble teams after we're done with the rest of the bracket. But 12 seeds, all right, at the moment, I've got James Madison sitting at 30-3. Really good resume there. They have a win over Michigan State. 48, continue with the 12 seeds. USF, 23-6. Okay, so I have them winning the American right now, USF. But like I said, easily you can see FAU win this, Memphis win this. There's a bunch of teams there. And then Richmond, currently I have them as the winner of the A10. And like I said, that could depend on, does Dayton win this? Does Loyola Chicago win this? Does VCU win this? There's a lot of other options here. If you're a bubble team, though, rooting-wise, you have to be hoping that Dayton wins the A10. All right, then last year, McNeese State, 28-3, out of the Southland Conference, coached by Will Wade, former coach of LSU. McNeese State is looking pretty deadly. I wouldn't want to play them if I'm a 5 seed. All right, then 13s, we have Princeton, 24-3 out of the Ivy League. Princeton, really good year this far. Kind of slept on, though. Sorry about that. All right, then Samford, 28-5 out of the SoCon. UC Irvine, 24-8. And then Morehead State punched their ticket today, 26-8. So besides Morehead State, though, every one of these teams is still in their tournament or has not started their tournament yet. So this is assuming they're going to win, but Morehead State is officially in. All right, then to the 14s, we have Colgate sitting at 24-9, Vermont 26-6, Charleston 25-7, and Quinnipiac 23-8. Colgate, Vermont, Charleston, no strangers to the tournament. They've all been here the past couple of years. All right, then moving on to the 15s and 16s, we have 15 seeds, Oakland, Toledo, Sam Houston, and Norfolk State. Then in the 16s, we have Montana, Merrimack, Stetson, booked their ticket today. South Dakota State, Longwood also punched their ticket today. And then Grambling State. All right, so those last 4, Stetson, South Dakota State, Longwood, and Grambling State would be in the play-in games, basically along with the last 4 in. All right, so then talking about the bubble teams, like I said, at the moment there are 6 spots, and we've got all the teams we talked about already, plus all of these teams, okay? So Colorado, Ohio State, UNLV, Pitt, Texas A&M. Let me go ahead and erase this. That was from my notes. Texas A&M, Wake Forest, Syracuse, Iowa, Seton Hall, Providence, St. John's, Villanova, Utah, Ole Miss, Memphis, Butler, Cincinnati, Virginia Tech, Oregon, Loyola Chicago, and Indiana. So about 20 teams right now, plus the ones I talked about. So about 25 total, close to 30 teams that I think still have a legitimate chance at being on the bubble, and depending on what goes down over the next week in their tournament, making a case for themselves to be in the bubble. But this is my field at the moment. All right, it's definitely subject to change. I'm going to try to put an update out as frequently as possible over this week. I'll try to put one out every night if possible, but we'll see if that happens, obviously, depending on who wins, who loses, like what all changes need to be happening. But I'll try my best on that. But let me know your thoughts on this. Who would you move up? Who would you move down? Who is horribly misseeded at the moment? Let me know. And then also, who are your last four in teams at the moment? If there's 6 bubble spots, like I talked about, pretty much anybody on my 11 seed line is a bubble team right now. Let me scroll down so you can see that. Pretty much anybody on my bubble seed line, on the 11 seed line, is a bubble team right now and is fighting for that last 6 in at the moment. Right now it's 6 teams, but that could change. Who do you think gets in? Let me know. Comment down below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe.